Welcome to Saints Happy Hour podcast. We never skip a drink day.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Now grab a drink and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. As always, we're brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Whiskey. I got Kevin with me. Thomas is back in Poland. He's going to edit this later. We recorded it without him, but he's the best. He'll make it look good. So Kevin, free agency is slowing down, right? You're a week or so into it, and now you're kind of people are shopping out of the bargain bin. They're at Best Buy with the open box. When you get a guy at free agency at this point, he's got, I want to say problems, but I want to be positive. He's got issues, right? Like you whenever you get a guy, it'll be like, oh, he was injured, or he's old, or he's never really lived up to his draft position, right? So I said to Kevin, I want you to give me, now that the Saints, we know kind of what their needs are going to be in the draft. I said, I want you to give me your absolute dream scenario of a draft that's kind of sort of possible, but people might think it's not. And I'm going to tell a story. Back in 2017, me and Andrew, we had just started doing the Patreon stuff and the paid content. And they had this, I forget what it was called, but it was a mock draft simulator. It was like one of the first ones. And you paid like $6 a year and you could run mock drafts, right? And me and Andrew would do podcasts. We would run the mock draft. And I remember we would take turns, and like 3 out of every 4 we did, Ramczyk was available at 32. But on the board, Ramczyk was anywhere from the 8th best player to the 15th best player. And me and Andrew would joke and be like, these mock draft simulators, they're trash. Like, this is not going to happen. And it's happened again. And Ralph, I have to take him at 32. This is not going to happen. And I don't even know if the Saints need a tackle because they got Zach Strief. But I can't, like, if Ramczyk is there, I'm taking him. I don't care about his knee injury or whatever. I'm taking him. It's not going to happen, though. But, like all the time he was available. And we were like, there's no way. Teams are, even back then, they were desperate for tackles, right? And we were like, there's no way Ramczyk is going to be there at 32. And sure enough, what happened? Ramczyk was there at 32. So my point is this. Whatever Kevin says now, you might think that's incredible. That's ridiculous. But come draft night and come day 2, these people might be available when the Saints pick. So Kevin, start us off. What did you do at 9? What would be not a trade down scenario, obviously, but
right. You told me not to do any trade downs. So
what would be at 9 where you would be like, we're not thinking about this. I can't even believe this is happening. Turn in the goddamn card before something goes wrong. Who would be that player at 9?
Well, obviously, I would sit by the phone regardless.
You listen, of course.
If somehow Abdul Carter dropped to 9, I would sit there and wait for a phone call. If the wide receiver from Arizona, McMillan, if he fell to 9, I would sit and wait for a phone call.
Here's the thing with Abdul Carter. Let's play that out for a second. If he falls to 9, it would mean something is drastically, catastrophically, potentially wrong with his foot. Would it give you pause? Like, if he fell to 9 and everybody's like, we can't touch him, his foot's got gangrene, would you still be like, I'm taking him? I don't care. The upside is too good.
I would sit by the phone
and you'd listen
and say, if anybody wanted to make an offer, go ahead. But if nobody was making an offer, and if I had enough people in my ear telling me this is too good to pass up, and considering what we're going to have to do with finding Cam Jordan's successor, Chase Young is, that's a could be gone in a year situation. Then I would look at drafting Abdul Carter. I have to grab my chicken out of the oven. Please vamp for me, Ralph. I will come back and give you some options.
Here's the funny thing with the Abdul Carter situation is I don't think he would drop to 9. Because if he's gonna drop all the way to 9, he might drop like God knows where. He's gonna have a club foot or some shit. But I will say this. If you have a player like that where you believe that his upside is so brilliant, I would be okay if you rolled the dice on that and it blew up in your face. Because here's the thing. If you get an Abdul, my son just found his medicine. He's excited about it. If Abdul Carter is potentially transformed, he's in that class of like Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett. So that's the kind of guy where I'm willing to roll the dice. But the thing is, to me, with the Saints at 9 is they're I think gonna be in a little bit of no man's land in this draft, in a sense of everybody in the draft, the draft experts anyway, they say, oh, it's there's 15 guys that are really good and 15 guys with first round grades, and that's sort of the consensus of draft experts. But the thing is, teams don't necessarily view it that way, right? The draft experts may say there's 15 guys with first round grades, but teams may look at it as there's only 12, or some teams may even be less. So you may have a team like the Saints where they're like, we only see 10 first round guys. So that pick at 9 could have them in a bind. But again, Kevin, like I was just vamping, as you said, I just think like a guy like Abdul Carter,
right?
I believe, like, I know you hate it, but I'm telling, like, if something was wrong with his foot and the Saints were like, we don't give a damn about his foot, and we're going to throw a team a third to move up to 6 or 5 to get him and roll the dice, I wouldn't even hate it, because here's the thing. The potential that he has to be so transformative for your defense, like if the first 5 teams are wrong about him and his foot's okay and he's what everybody says he can be, like you've transformed your defense. Like your pass rush is kind of fixed for like 5 years, even if you get 5 good years and his foot falls off. So I get it. The other guy, though, McMillan that you mentioned,
yeah,
he's interesting because I think the bag is going to be mixed on him with teams because he hasn't run yet. He didn't run at the combine. He didn't run at like Big 12 day. And I assume he's going to run at his pro day. But like his 40 time may kind of stink. And then teams will be like, but his film is awesome. And he can separate. And he's gigantic. And maybe he's like a Michael Thomas, where Michael Thomas ran like a 4.56. And until Michael Thomas hurt his ankle and went insane, he was unstoppable. So like McMillan, he's a guy at 9, I think, Carter, not realistic. McMillan, definitely realistic.
Look, I would need somebody like an actual scout maybe, or somebody who is really plugged in to an organization to tell me really what does that 40 time tell you with these athletes, because you're doing it. They're not wearing a uniform. They're not wearing pads. They're not wearing a helmet. They're not like, how many times did we see, you bring up Michael Thomas and he apparently had a I don't know, bad 40 time or low 40 time.
Yeah, it was bad.
But he turned out all right.
Yeah.
Like, how many people that have bad 40 times or average 40 times turn out all right?
Yeah, that's a great question, because here's the thing: you can look at like analytics, right? And like with offensive linemen, teams know arm length, wingspan. It really freaking matters. Like, and you can argue with me about why it doesn't matter, but I can point to all these things like, well, the starting offensive linemen in the NFL, they usually have this arm length and they have this wingspan, and Pro Bowl offensive linemen and tackles and guard, they have this certain wingspan and arm length. And like, that's data, right? The 40 time, it's murky because you can compensate for other things, right? If you run perfect routes, if you're like Marcus Colston, he thought he ran good at the combine, and it still didn't help him. But like, he had this like innate, incredible body control, right? Where like, combine doesn't really measure that. Like, they do the cone drills and all that. It doesn't really measure body control. And Colston had this weird way where, until he got at the end of his career, right, he could contort his body in certain ways and take shots and catch the ball, which even tape doesn't really measure that, right? So I agree with you on the 40 time. It's very difficult, but I'm just going to tell you, like, it matters. Like, if he runs a crappy 40 time, teams are going to look at him and be like, oh God, do we take a guy that runs a 4.5 at 6? Like, that's how teams are. Because here's the thing, Kevin, if you take a guy that has all the measurables, you kind of like inoculate yourself, right? Because you can say, well, look at him. He was 6'4" and 220, and he ran a 4.35, and he had the best measurables since Megatron. Like, of course we took him. But if you're a GM and you're like, Kevin, you took the guy that ran a 4.6 and you took him at 7. What the hell were you doing? Like, that'll get you fired, is what I'm saying.
I mean, okay. I understand the reasoning. I can understand that reasoning. It's like, you want to be able to point to people and say, the guy was this tall. His hands measured this. We liked his speed. He jumped very well, all these other kind of things. But I don't know.
You know,
I know that's not a solid answer here, but it's just, I feel like
go ahead.
Say that again.
No, just go ahead.
I'm just saying, so at 9, I'm running a mock right now, and wow, excuse me, I'm running a mock on PFF. I've got Jahdae Brown, the corner from Texas, Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. I don't think any of the guys in the secondary that are up top excite me that much beyond Travis Hunter, and he'll be gone for sure. Will Johnson seems like he could be good, but I don't know. I want to get somebody with that first pick, whether it's pick 9 or whether they trade back to, wherever. I want to feel like I'm going to run outside and run into oncoming traffic and tackle a Buick. That's how excited I want to feel. I don't get that with Will Johnson.
Yeah, you don't.
Jahad Campbell is there. Linebacker, position of need, touted as hell. And then you got James Pierce. There's apparently like some sort of like bad vibe again about him, but I don't know. Like the talk on him says he can be a starter at like a decent starter at worst, or all pro type guy at best.
He is, to me, I'm going to use a name. I think the name for Saints fans will understand, but I think he's way, way, way better physically than this guy, but mentally in Junior Galette. Like, he's got Junior Gillette potential in that he's got a lot of knucklehead tendencies that people whisper about. But Junior Gillette, for a 2-year period, was a 10-sack dude. Like Pierce is a guy that I could see a team taking in the middle to late first round and being like constantly on the right-hand side of ESPN.com, where he's constantly in trouble, constantly doing things he shouldn't be doing, and it's a disaster. I could also be, in 2 years, people like saying, oh my God, I can't believe 16 teams passed on him. He destroys offenses every single week. And when his contract is up, he's going to be the first $50 million player on defense in NFL history. Like his range of outcomes is vast, is what I'm saying. But to you got to give me a name. Give me a name at 9 where you're like, this would make me incredibly happy. This would make my dreams come true.
I mean, I know that they've re-signed Juwan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've got Dallin Holker sitting there. You've got potentially Foster Moreau is going to come back from injury. Taysom Hill is going to come back from injury. But we're going to be looking at Taysom Hill with concern and worry. We're going to be looking at Foster Moreau with concern and worry. Dallin Holker may not make the team.
Yeah.
Juwan Johnson is going to be, a mixed bag.
Yeah. And look, Kellen Moore, he likes to run 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends. So, you know.
So, if he's there at 9, Tyler Warren.
You would be incredibly pumped about him.
Look, I think regardless of who they take at 9, assuming they stay at 9, I'm going to come on here and say I would like to know if they got any phone calls or not.
I'm sure they'll get. If he's there,
I'm still going to come out here and wonder that.
Well,
But if they go with Tyler Warren, and unless I find out that some team was offering a tremendous deal, I would be happy with Ty Warren.
Here's my question.
It's an offensive pick. It's a quote unquote sexy pick.
That's right. It's tight end.
It's somebody that can that could be exciting for the team. The team, this fan base, everything, it needs a jolt.
It does. And he's a legitimate tight end in a sense of a lot of these tight ends now, they're like, oh, he's a tight end. He's really a big slot receiver because you can't put him in the end of the line and he can't block. Tyler Warren is not that. He is a legit tight end, can run block, can catch, can do all those things. Here's my question. This is my question to you, Kevin, that I think will give the people, especially if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. But the diehards, the people that are patrons, this I think will be the question that will help them understand how much you love Warren. If the Saints traded, if he was there, Warren is there at 9, and I know you're king of the trade downs, and the trade down will make you happy. But is he so good that when they trade down out of it, in that moment before the Saints, we know what they've gotten and how far they've gone down? Is Warren so good that before that moment where you get excited about the first time in Saints trading down in forever, right? Will there be a moment, and how long will that moment be? Will you be like, man, they passed on Warren? I don't like that too much. Like, how good is he that good of a player where you'll have like a pretty decent moment of sadness?
I will have
passed on him.
I will be holding my breath if Goodell walks out there and announces that there's been a trade. I will hold my breath until it's all laid out. if Warren's sitting there at 9, here comes, Harry Goodell and says, the Saints have agreed to trade with so-and-so for this and this and this and this, for that and that, I'm going to be, just cloistered up, tight as a snare drum.
Tight.
I'm going to be very tight,
Pucker tight.
waiting to hear what it is. And if it's anything from good to great, like a good to great offer, I'm going to be moderately bothered. If it's anything less than that, I'll say, okay, we got, or actually, wait a minute. We did take it. So if it's a good to great offer and we did take it, I'll be okay. If it's anything less than a good offer, I will say, what are we doing here? Like if it was only, hey, we traded down to like 13 or 14, but we only got we agreed to swap firsts. We got their third and maybe like their fifth or something like that. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, the math don't math there for me.
The chart, if I agree with you, if Warren is there at 9, the bare minimum for me to be okay to very excited about the trade, it better match. Like whatever chart you use that's modern, the Saints pick is worth 1,350. They better get 1,350 points back. I would even argue for Warren, I'm charging a little surtax. Like if you're a team and you give me a second and a fourth, and that's 1,400 points on the chart, tough break, kid. I'm not throwing something back to even it out. If you want Warren, you got to pay a little extra. Like that's my feeling on it. But I get to me, this draft, I think you and a couple other people in the Discord, by the way, become a Saints Happy Hour patron. You get in our Discord. We have a Discord chat every week. We're talking Saints football. It's amazing. You don't have to deal with social media, the crap on X and all that. But they've sort of convinced me that this draft, the top of it is not very deep. And there's not a ton of elite guys. So you need to put positional value out of your mind. Like normally, if it was a normal deep draft and it was normal depth at the top, you'd be like, I'll take a tight end at 9. It's too risky. They take a couple years to get good. You don't take a tight end in the top 10. You don't take a guard. You don't take a running back. But this year is different. The depth at the top is so shallow. Just get a good player. And if you get a plug and play starter at guard, at running back, at tight end, don't worry. Don't worry about positional value this year. This year's different and special. So that has sold me. Tyler Warren, he's as a sure thing as supposedly is in this draft. So I'm for it.
There are other tight ends that if the Saints didn't get Tyler Warren and they got Harold Fanning Jr. From Bowling Green. The guy has good, what do I look at? I look at physical stuff. I look at vibes and all that. I like the vibes from him. There's guys later in the draft that I like as well. I'm getting less and less excited about the guy from Iowa, Luke Lachey or Luke Lachey or whatever.
LSU.
Well, no. The guy from Iowa. Now, yeah. Mason Taylor from LSU, I look at his numbers and I'm like, why is he ranked so high on this PFF board? It's almost like they want him to go, they almost think he's going to go top 60 or something.
It's
and I'm just like, I don't see it there. If he was there at say 90.
Yeah.
And the Saints were like, okay, we didn't get the tight end. We got an edge defender. We took an edge defender at 9. We took a guard at 40. Let's get, and we're not happy with the contingent of wide receivers available. Yeah. Let's take Mason Taylor at 90. This is also assuming that the Miami tight end, Arroyo, is out of the picture, because that's a guy that I like who's been shooting up in the draft stature.
Here's here's my and listen, people know it. LSU guy, I'm Saints draft LSU players. It makes me excited. It gets us as Saints fans excited. They got Gachow, they got Reed. He's not an LSU player, but he's local. You get my drift. So we love the local kids, right? It's amazing. The thing that scares me with Mason Taylor is even though draft people, draft analysts that I really like, they love him. But the thing that scares me about him is they're all the Nate Tices, the Dane Bugler, the good draft analysts that I really like. They're like, he's going to be better in the NFL than he was in college. And they explain why, but then they never give me a comp tight end that is like, does that. And that scares me. Like it scares me to death. When you're talking about a top 60 pick, even a top 90 pick, and you're saying to me, he's going to be better in NFL than he was in college. Like that scares me to death. And you know me, I'm pick the LSU guy. I love it, but it's not a red flag. It's just, I don't know. It makes me a little uneasy, but we'll see. So now we got the pick at 9. We got the tight end.
Right.
Pick 40, because this is dicey, because I feel like you could throw a couple names and people will roll their eyes, do spit takes, get in the comments here, tell us we're stupid, we're outrageous, there's no way. But there's always 4 or 5 guys that get picked between 35 and 45 that in mock drafts are going between 18 and 30. It happens every freaking year, every year. So who are guys? Give me some names at 40, and then you'll make your final. But give me some names at 40 that you would be like, when we're doing the live stream or whenever, where you'd be like, I can't believe I can't believe it. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe he's at 40.
Well, the issue here now becomes, you look at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fellow by the name of Alec Ayomanor.
Mm-hmm.
Or I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's from Stanford. PFN has him rated lower. PFF has him rated higher. But he seems to always be going around 40 and slightly above.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere from round 2 to 50.
Yeah.
If he was there at 40, I would be excited to grab him. If there's a run on wide receivers, and let's say he's gone, and your only options at wide receiver are these short guys who are, these short kings who are like 5'11", 5'10", I want no part of Xavier Restrepo, of Isaiah Bond. I'm looking Jalen Noel. I mean, not that they're going to suddenly leap up super high, but give me why did I just had his name here? I just had his name in front of me. Give me Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
From Iowa State. 6'4", 214 pounds. RAS score of 9.92.
Oh, yeah, see, checks all the boxes. I like that.
Now he's projected a little bit lower than 40. He's projected at about 60. But I could totally see teams saying, hey, this guy meets the definition of what you want a wide receiver, a WR1 to be.
Yeah.
The Saints are going to need a WR1.
That is correct.
I am assuming that Olave is either getting traded, or he is not going to last the season, or he's being moved, or he's going to be relegated to being the number 2 guy. The Saints have to find their next number 1 guy.
And here's the thing, to your point about Olave, the Saints, if they decide they're not extending, if they decide, listen, they may pick up the 5th-year option, but if they're like, we're not committing to him long term, if they decide that, I think they have to move him. Like, and if you can get a second round pick for him, you do it. And I think they potentially could get a second round pick. Oh, and I know people are screaming at me. They're like, "Oh, DJ Metcalf only got a third and he's way better." Yes, Metcalf is better than Olave, but the Steelers also, when they traded for him, had to give him $150 million. If you trade for Olave, if you were the Jets or you were another team at even like a high third round pick, if you're the Texans or you're another, and you give up like pick 62 for Olave, you would say, listen, yes, he's not in the class of Metcalf, but we get him for 2 years. We get him in 2025 in the option year. That's $15 million. We get 2 super low cost years of Olave. If his concussions are behind him, that's worth a very high third round pick or a low second round pick. And the Saints, I think they should take it if they decide they're not going to extend Olave, which, considering his concussion problems, is more than a reasonable position to take. I think you got to get value with him, because here's the thing: even if Olave is incredible this year and goes for 1,100 yards, 90 catches, and looks great, he goes into that fifth year option. Next year, a team's going to be like, "Oh yeah, we'll trade for him, but we're only going to give you a fourth because we got to pay him now, right?" And he's got all these concussion issues. Yeah, he didn't have concussion issues in 2025, but he had them all the time before. So I think the Saints, like, if you could get a top 70 pick for him, I think you got to think about it. But here's another question I have for you.
Yeah.
The running back position loaded this year. Is that fair to say?
Loaded, but loaded in the sense that you don't have to, like, there is no need for the Saints to rush. And I know everybody's got the proverbial big rubbery one for Ashton Jeanty. I would be against taking this guy at 9, even if the Saints traded down. I would be against. I've seen it happen where I've traded to 14 or something, and somehow he drops to 14. I've still avoided him. Well, but you can get guys that look good. Like again, I read numbers. I read for vibes. I can get guys in the 3rd round, the 4th round, the 5th round that meet that I think especially could easily get on this team. Mm-hmm. You're going to be running back number 2 behind Alvin Kamara anyway. So I need you to be there's slightly less pressure. I just need you to be somebody that can take some of the pressure off Kamara and be expected to produce.
Here's that is a perfect segue into my next point, Kevin. You're saying, hey, Saints, it's loaded at running back. Wait, what if that is the consensus among all these NFL teams, and they're like, hey, let's wait till the 3rd round, 4th round. We can still get a guy. Genty's the only one off the board. I watched them YouTube highlights. I'm going to butcher his name, but Omarion Hampton.
From North Carolina.
I watched his YouTube highlights, my brother. If he was there at 40, I think I would run to the podium and do it. Like, as a dream scenario. Like, if you told me the Saints could get Warren and Hampton, like, you talk about vibes and firing up a fan base, you got a tight end and you got a running back. Woo, woo. You could fire up some people, sell some tickets.
The issue, the problem with that is now you're somewhat boxed in.
Yeah.
Because now you're saying, okay, we went tight end, we went running back. We now have to get a guard within the next 2 picks for sure, because we need a starting guard. We need at least one starting guard to come out of these first 3-4 picks.
Yes, right.
And then look, I'm grabbing another one on the back end just in case.
And your defense.
Meanwhile, now you're looking at the defense like, hang on a second, we need to get another edge guy. We're supposed supposed to be going to a 3-4. Where's the linebacker help? Where's the secondary help? It puts a lot of pressure on those next couple of picks if you go tight end, running back out the chute. Let's say it was let's say it was tight end, wide receiver. The pressure is still.
That's right.
You got to get a guard. Then, oh wait, all these defensive issues that you've got, you got a whole new scheme you're going to install. That's why I'm saying look to round 3.
Yeah.
Look to round 4. That kid from Tennessee, Sampson.
Yep.
He's dropped to 4. I've seen him go to 4.
Yeah.
A lot of other kids are can go in rounds 3, 4, and 5, and this is somebody that you can plug in right behind Alvin Kamara, and I would feel good about it.
Yeah. So who's your pick? Who's your dream pick at 40?
Well, a lot of this got changed because the Saints went and got the LSU guy at defensive tackle, because there are a lot of defensive tackles, interior guys that are available, but now those are off the board. So it's like, do you go at corner? Do you pick an edge guy? Because Princely Uman, Mr. Princely from Ole Miss, he's sitting there. I like that.
Would you run to the podium, though, for him at 40? Would you be totally pumped to get him and surprised?
Who would I be pumped about?
Yeah, who would I be pumped about?
Because listen, Jackson Dart and Milroe are there at 40. I would not feel good if either one of those guys went at pick 40.
So give me who you want. This is for you, Kevin.
I know, but it's like, listen, you literally took, you have taken 10-year-old Kevin into Toys R Us in the summer of 1991. And I'm just walking up and down the aisles. I'm looking at all the Ninja Turtle figures, and it's like, pick one. Yeah, but, I would like to get Michelangelo. Oh, but Raphael's got this thing. Oh, but what about Rocksteady? Oh, but I want to get the sewer layout. There's a lot of things I want. So I would probably grab an edge guy. And unfortunately, the guy I would have looked for who I've seen at 40, Landon Jackson from Arkansas. The guy's 6'7", 280, like just a giant of a human being.
Yeah.
However, I will go with, because he is available in this mock I am running, I will go with Princely U from Ole Miss. His draft report or whatever says they think he would do best in a 3-4. Yeah, so by all means, kid.
The Ole Miss, like, I believe, as an Ole Miss watcher, and my family went to Ole Miss, not me. I watch a lot of Ole Miss. I believe the reason Ole Miss didn't make the playoffs is because of Dart. Their roster was loaded. Their defensive front was loaded. So I like the Princely pick. I think two of those dudes from the Ole Miss defensive line are going to end up being really good NFL players. Not all of them, but two of them might be good. I love this pick. That would get me really excited. Jackson Dart, I do not like. I've made that perfectly clear. And here's the thing with Jackson Dart. This is going to make people a little bit uncomfortable. But, like, a white dude named Jackson Dart with those measurables at quarterback, the fact that he is not going in the top 15 and does not have incredible draft buzz should give people giant pause. It should be giant red light flashing. It's like Will Levis. Will Levis checked off every measurable box, right? As a tall white dude, cannon, mobile, big, thick, strong. Went to the SEC, won at Kentucky, won enough. Took Kentucky to bowl games, and teams were still like, nah, bro. Nah, we're not doing that in the first round. We're not. And so that gives me huge concerns about Jackson Dart. I'm just gonna put that out there. So let's go to your third pick, Kevin. The Saints' first of their many picks, but we only did your top 3 players. Who are the players?
So this is pick 71. This is 71. Round 3.
Who is your dream pick? They don't have to necessarily be, when you run the mock, be there at 71. You could pick a guy earlier. It could be your dream, and it could be you. You can be like, I can't believe this guy is here at 71. We're taking him. We nailed all 3 of these picks. We're out. The Saints, congratulations. You're out of the ditch. You nailed your first 3 picks. You're getting an A+ for this draft. Who would be that guy at 71?
Well, at this point, I would be looking at, say, if assuming we didn't get Warren at 9, by that point, I'm looking at Arroyo from Miami. Mm-hmm. If he was there at 71, I would be excited. Dylan Sampson, the running back from Tennessee.
Woohoo! Yes,
I would be. I could get excited for a running back at 71. You watch me. You watch me. Now, some of that depends on the picks we're making beforehand.
I mean, well, in this draft, you've taken Warren and you've taken Prince,
right?
So now you're build. You're building your dream draft. So
right.
So would you
now? I'm now thinking, okay. Do I do the running back now and take Sampson? Or do I do the running back, the next one in the next pick I have in round 3? And do I get a guy at guard who I know is going to start at guard? He played tackle in college. Well, he played tackle and guard in college. He's projected as a guard. And it would be Donovan Jackson from Ohio State.
Ooh, that's almost perfect. He checks every box, right?
Right.
Fills a need.
An important need.
Important need at guard. He goes to Saints Vocational School, Ohio State.
Right.
The Saints Feeder Academy. Like, he checks all the boxes. What's his RAS? If his RAS is above 9, we're golden.
Let me find that.
So
do they have him listed as a tackle, or do they have him listed as guard here?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Look at that. They don't have. I'll be damned. All right, so I'm gonna just have to ye old Google.
But here's the thing with this pick, Kevin, too, that is something to consider that we talked about on the Discord chat last week. With Penny, I know. Did you find the RAS yet?
Let's
as you're looking for that. The thing with Penning, and I know people on YouTube are going to lose their mind. People that aren't patrons are going to lose their mind. If you listen to the free versions, you're going to lose your mind, because what I'm going to say, if Trevor Penning has the exact same season that he had in 2024, in 2025, and the Saints do not pick up his option for 2026, he will make $85 million in free agency. Teams are that desperate for tackle. Tennessee paid a guy who had a worse season, I would argue, than Trevor Penning. They paid him $80+ million to be.
That's crazy.
And I'm just telling you. So if you're the Saints and you're unsure about Penning and you're like, we don't want to pick up the option, you draft this guy from Ohio State. Start him at guard this year. Maybe you can kick him out to tackle next year. Oh, Trevor Penning, you're getting $90 million from whoever next year. We'll take the comp pick and we'll slide this other dude to tackle. Like, maybe you plan ahead. So I like this pick, and he checks all the boxes with Saints fetishes. If he's got a high RAS, if he goes to Ohio State, he plays guard. It works out great. Kevin, what did you find his RAS or no?
No, I have not found a RAS for him.
So we don't need it. We'll just pretend. It's above.
I have not found a RAS for him.
It's above 9.
PFN has actually been pretty good about having RASs for a lot of guys, but he's one of the few in the top 50 without a Raz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointing. But
Yeah.
So, but you know what?
Yeah.
I will go ahead
And take him.
and take him at 71.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, let me mark this down here. Ah, shoot, where did he go? Now he vanished. Whatever.
And he has an injury history. He checks every Saints box. He checks them all. He checks them all. He might be the most Saintsy pick ever.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take him.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will go and take that guy, and I'm fine rolling with that. Because at that point, we've got a guy who is a starter, who is supposed to be a starter.
I mean,
That's what I want.
If you got Tyler Warren, Princely, Uman, Milan, and Donovan Jackson, like, that is a draft I might commit crimes for, because to me, I think if you had this draft coming, I think you could make a strong argument the Saints got 3 top 45 players on their board. Like, that may have occurred. And listen, you never know how it's going to work, but as a fan, I would love it, because you hit all these needs, and you're not reaching. You are saying, oh my God, this is working out perfectly for us, in a way where, you've said it all the time, like the draft, like you do all these mocks and you got to have a lot of it's a lot of luck for the teams involved, not just in evaluations, but just because your evaluations are right, it's still got to fall to you. The players you want have to fall, right? So, I mean, 2017 was an incredible draft for the Saints, but it was a lot of luck too. Like, they wanted to take Kamara in the second round. They took Marcus Williams and then traded back up to get Kamara, but it could have gone all wrong, right? And somebody else takes him and is not. So they were going to take Reuben Foster. They were going to take Reuben Foster at 32, and San Francisco jumps up, takes Reuben Foster. He ends up being a complete and utter knucklehead, right? That he showed himself to be at the combine. The Saints were going to take him anyway. San Francisco takes him. The Saints, we'll take Ramczyk instead. Okay. They weren't even that, So that's just good fortune that I would say, Kevin, to end on this, how much do you think, just straight up luck figures into your draft success? I would say it's about 35%.
Luck is an important, luck, chance, providence, whatever word you want to use for it, is a sizable component of it. If you wanted to say, oh, it's 50% luck, or oh, it's 30% luck, or it's 20% luck, those are still big numbers, and I wouldn't argue with you. If somebody was out here saying, it's not luck, it's just luck is minimal, or if you were out here saying, oh, it's 85% luck, I would argue I'm going to argue on the fringes. I would argue on the fringes. 15% on the end. Once you get to say 20 to 25%, and maybe 60% in that window, I'll live in that window.
Yeah.
But
I think
it's preparation.
Yeah.
Most of it is preparation. It is then maybe luck.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't know what you would say after that, but preparation is the biggest thing.
I would say it's 33% preparation, 33% draft philosophy, and 33% luck.
Draft philosophy.
Like the Saints draft philosophy is trade up,
Yeah.
get the players we want.
Right.
Our board is amazing.
Right.
Let's go do it. And it worked spectacularly in 2016 and 2017. It hasn't worked since, right? It's an aggressive, reckless philosophy. The Saints draft philosophy is my retirement plan is the craps table. That is a horrible philosophy. But I believe that is a big chunk of your draft. It's like a three-legged stool. Preparation, philosophy, luck.
Yeah.
And that's my theory. And I think luck is a big chunk of it. But Kevin, this was a fun exercise. We're going to be doing a bunch of it, but
we should do more. We should do more. It's like we've got a month until the draft.
Yeah.
We do all these things in the Discord. Please sign up for the Patreon and get access to the Discord. But we got to be throwing some of these out to the general public.
Mm-hmm.
So they can at least see me fumble about, and eventually I'm gonna, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit on some of these, and you're gonna see me take some victory laps.
Well, listen, man, I don't know why this name, whenever I think of like your best draft work, and I don't know why this name always sticks with me, but Tucker Kraft was your guy. And he is a really, really good tight end with the Packers.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, you've had many others. Maybe it's just the name is unique.
Right. It's a unique name, and it's just, Tucker Kraft. Like, that sounds like a guy.
Sounds like a tight end.
Right.
Sounds like a tight end or a really, really haunty, arrogant fiction writer.
Yeah.
So, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting the show. Go to patreon.com/Saints Happy Hour. Check us out. Join. It's amazing. You should do it. So for Kevin, for Thomas, who has to edit this later in Poland, who does an amazing job, I'm Ralph Marlboro. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, the bar is closed.